Before we go into the message, I want us to talk about something just briefly, kind of keep us aware. And Eric Korberg shared it with me, and it's really been stirring in my spirit as to something that we just need to stay aware. So Eric, you want to come and share with the people a little bit what you were into and how you came across this, what you're going to share.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Korberg. So for those of you who don't know, I do AV professionally in Twin Cities. So I did a conference last week that I was doing video for, and it was for university staff, residential staff. And every time they came on the stage to speak, they introduce their names, and then they would introduce what they identify as. So they would say, my name is Eric. I go with him, he, his pronouns. And I could not help it. Sitting on my desk, my head just kept shaking. It was because I felt this gross feeling the entire time the speeches were going on, because it kept talking about how we need to make sure how people need to feel never offended. We don't ever want anybody to ever feel offended or uncomfortable in our housing. And they kept using the reference of social justice needs to happen. And they had nominated people at all these different areas on social justice. Who's in charge of social justice? And I did not understand what that meant, because I'm not of that mindset. But it means they're in charge of making sure that everybody feels comfortable wherever they're at in their life. Whatever they're doing, whatever they chose to do, they're comfortable.
And whatever they identify as.
And whatever they identify as and choose to that day, that week, whatever. And these are people that are high in universities. These are highly educated people. And they are talking to your children at universities and making sure that they're preaching the exact opposite of what God is preaching to us.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. I had no peace the entire conference there. It was turning. I couldn't really eat because my stomach just felt sickness there.
Yeah.
And I just felt so lack of peace, and these people are preaching whatever you want to identify as, you would do it. And we'll all right with it. And that's what's being preached to your children in universities right now. And they come out and they feel, because they've been educated, they've been actually indoctrinated.
Yeah.
So they come out with an opinion of what the world says is the right opinion. And anyone else that disagrees is wrong. Mm-hmm. And I just kept shaking my head the entire conference. I'm surprised I didn't get a kink in my neck. Because I just keep saying, these people are not, they're looking for an identity that only God provides them. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I just kept saying, what would I go up there if I was going to go up to identify myself, what pronoun would I use? And I said, child of God is all I kept thinking. That's my identity. That's where I get my identity from. And these children don't know what their identity is, and they're going in, and the universities are teaching them. These are all people that are taking the residential moms and papas of all the universities, and this is what the message is. So that's what kind of was on both of our hearts this entire weekend. It just was bugging me, and I just kept going early and praying over myself, and that it would not stay on me.
Yeah.
And bring it home to my kids.
Yeah. So this was a conference where they brought the professors and stuff together and kind of rallied them to keep them going the same direction, same page kind of thing.
Oh yeah, they had keynotes that were talking about all the offenses and social injustices that are going on right now, and they were hoorahing all about it and saying that will never happen at our university.
Yeah.
And they basically are just motivational speakers for everything opposite of God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they are bringing in, and just making sure that all these tables are full of university students and future people that were going to be in charge of being the residential supervisors for all these dorm rooms.
So now they were emphasizing the him, her thing. Was there anybody obviously a him or a her who identified opposite?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yep. And they also, the thing that caught my ear was that they finished off was identify as him, he, they.
They-
That I didn't get that. But they actually refer them to multiple identifications in the same pronoun.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you.
Yes.
Reason I brought that up is we need to stay aware of where the culture is going. And this goes back to the series I did a few months ago. Culture is trying to and is succeeding in invading the church, washing over us, and with it washing the truth or the gospel out. If we don't push back, we're going to lose the whole thing. And it's not popular to push back. My opinion, hopefully I'm wrong, my opinion, it's only a matter of time that the churches that take a stand against a him calling himself a her, or a her calling himself a him, or not doing gay marriage, weddings, that kind of thing, they're going to be all over us and try to shut us down. That. I hope it's not coming, but I got the feeling that's coming. And the thing that, to me, the thing the church is supposed to be doing, which is influencing the culture and going out there and rattling some doors and some windows and saying, no, we're not, no. Even if they say, well, you're just a bunch of bigots and narrow-minded Christians and uneducated people who don't really understand where the world's progressing to. And whatever. Our job is to, according to 2 Thessalonians 2, it's the church's job to hold back the power of the Antichrist or lawlessness. And our job is to resist this and say no to it. As long as we're here, we say no to it. And the problem is a lot of the church in America is failing at that. Our greatest voice governmentally is obviously the voting booth. So we have to. I heard someone speak just, he was real blunt, a couple of weeks ago. He was real blunt about it. He said, well, I want to make sure nobody, misunderstands this. He said, and if I offend you, he said, I'm not meaning to offend you. He says, but just realize something. If you get offended by what I say, it's revealing something in you, not me. Because you're the one who got offended. I didn't get offended. I thought, well, that's a good thought. But anyway, he made this statement. He travels all over the world and doesn't live in Minnesota. And he came and he was speaking and he said, what do you think the biggest demon is that I feel when I come into Minnesota? Oh, there are people popping off, all different kinds of stuff that we typically would think of. And he said, nope. He said, it's tolerance. He said, you people are immersed in making sure everybody feels good, nobody gets offended, nobody says anything that'll ruffle any feathers with anybody. And he says, that approach is going to take this nation down. Well, right there we have firsthand information of it. He said it's demonically being pushed, and he says there's things the church needs to be standing up to and saying no to. But we're just tolerating it because we're trying to be nice and we don't want to offend anybody or hurt anybody's feelings. And if you say too much, they won't come back, and we need our numbers. And it's sad. But anyway, so he went on and made this statement. He said, well, I'm just going to be blunt so that you don't misunderstand me. He says, any of you who vote Democrat who agree with their platform are voting to kill babies. So you are joined with murder.
Yes. Wow.
And you could kind of feel the air get sucked out of the room a little bit, like. And I thought, well, there you go. You're an accomplice. You know, you in the legal system, they call it an accomplice. And then some, yeah. But in the voting system, oh no, we're just, you know, we don't want to rock the boat. And I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I try to vote for the people that I believe in. But I will tell you this. I don't know of any Democrats who don't agree with the Democratic platform, because they don't let them in and acknowledge them as a Democrat if they don't agree with their platform. So they may be a wonderful person who has questions about, you know, should we be aborting children, this, that, and the other. But when it comes voting time in the state or in Washington, they're going to vote their platform if they want to keep their office. And if we put them there, we're accomplices to that. And he just said, you're baby killers. So that hopefully don't thin the crowd, but there it is. Our job as the church is to resist evil, and if we don't call it white and black, what are we? We're not resisting. So I wanted that brought out because this is the direction culture's going, and it's our job to stand up and say, no, we're not going there, this is wrong. And see, even to say wrong means there's got to be some kind of standard we're measuring against, and that's what they're trying to throw out now, including the plumbing you're born with. Doesn't count anymore. Throw that standard out. It's like, wow, that's becoming a little too tolerant. Like I told Eric when he shared it with me, I said, so now just step back and try to look at this as a war between the devil and God. If he can saturate culture with this and cause the people who speak out and say no to that kind of philosophy, cause them to shut down or be persecuted or however you want to say it. If I can't say, I disagree, Gary, I mean, it's just not right because I believe in a Judeo-Christian standard and morality and this. If I can't say that, how am I ever going to approach someone to get them saved? How do you evangelize anybody? Because evangelism is the good news that you're in trouble.
Right.
You're going the wrong direction, you're headed for hell, but the good news is Jesus came to set you free from that. Right. Well, culture's trying to say, you can't tell someone they're going the wrong direction. You can't tell them they're doing wrong. We just need to just be tolerant and love each other and keep peace. Yeah, and we'll keep it all the way to hell, we'll keep it. Jesus, yes, he is the Prince of Peace, but he also said, I came to bring a sword, divide some things out.